This is Morning Perfect Base, and I hope that you are having a good morning. I'm going to work on my perfect base a little bit each day, and after a few weeks, I'm going to see how much progress I've made. Alright, first off, I'm going to get some sleep. You notice I started downstairs this week, well, today, and that's because that's the central point of the perfect base, which I'm just now getting around to building. I did initially record the setup of what I call the bar, I think for pretty good reasons. However, like, that take wasn't good. This is my third take for this particular this morning perfect base. This is an opinion piece, so it's pretty loosely laid out. Let's see what I got here. Alright, I'm going to go back up to this other corner and start just trying to dig it all the way down. So, this one I got is why Ralph Peters left Fox News. Ralph Peters he was a contributor for 10 years to Fox News. He was, I believe, a U.S. Army lieutenant colonel, and he resigned from being a contributor to Fox News in late March, right? I always get March and May mixed up. Anyway, he gave a resignation letter, as you would expect, and that was leaked to BuzzFeed, who naturally does what BuzzFeed does. In it, he cited the fact that, despite the fact that he is an expert on Russian military intelligence and has been called upon to contribute on that topic many times before, he hasn't been called to contribute to any Fox News discussions on that topic since the president's links to Russia came to the fore. The deal is, this guy isn't a token liberal. He's not a tepid, fingers are misaligned there. He's not a tepid conservative. This guy was once censured by Fox News, suspended by Fox News for his criticism of President Obama, which is not an easy thing to happen. Like, what you got to do to get Fox News to say that your criticism of Obama is too much is significant. So this guy is a conservative. He's proposed a hard line on North Korea. He has done other stuff. I'm not looking at my notes. I've done this so many times, I feel like I have the high points memorized. And it never feels authentic when I go, even whenever I read and interpret from the script, which is usually a bit overwritten. Never feels natural. Anyway, he cited what he described as Fox News's inability to honestly grapple with the issue of Russian meddling in the election and the president's... Actually, I don't think it was meddling in the election. It was the president's ties to Russia in pursuit of profit from their agenda. They want the money that comes from not questioning the president's ties to Russia. And so they never asked him to say anything untrue. They never asked him to, lie. They didn't fire him. They kept him around. But there were roundtable discussions on this topic where it was his bailiwick, and they asked very much less qualified people to speak on those topics. And he eventually felt that it was dangerous to the country to not do or say anything about that. He felt that he could not remain complicit. The next one is, Scott Pruitt. He's Trump's guy in the Environmental Protection Agency. If you've heard of him before, it's probably because he got in trouble last year for using first-class air travel to get around the country whenever the EPA guidelines state that they should use coach. A responsible use of taxpayer money. At the time, the EPA cited security threats, which I don't know if anyone's aware of this, but first class is on the same plane. God damn it, I put 12 frickin' crafting tables into that chest last time. And now I don't have any crafting tables. So now I have to make another crafting table. Do I not have the sticks? I don't have the sticks. I need to make sticks. So anyway, like, first class and coach are on the same plane. If a terrorist is going to blow up a plane, first class is going to go with it, unless there's something I don't know. I've never flown first class before. Maybe they have little ejection pods up there. But anyway, his latest thing is that he wanted to give employees who were making $100,000 and $80,000 raises, not to those numbers, but from those numbers. And you know, the good thing about the administration is that they blocked him. They said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. You can't just give your faves a raise whenever raises are frozen. We have a narrative here about reducing government spending. That's what all those empty offices are. Anyway, so instead he used a provision of the Clean Water Drinking Act, I believe, to hire those employees as specialists, as consultants for emergencies. And he gave them raises that way. He used a law designed to protect your drinking water to give raises to preferred employees. Now look, I like an employer who wants to give his employees raises. You know, I think that's great. No, it doesn't happen enough. I think maybe when you're giving your made men raises from a heck of a lot of money to way heck a lot of money, you know, and you're breaking the rules to do that, you're just using the taxes of the American people to make your inner circle wealthy. And I think that's shitty. I think everyone should think that that's shitty. I got, let's see. Oh, Case Farms. This is a chicken place working out of Canton, Ohio. They provide food for Popeyes, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Boar's Head, Taco Bell. I think I may have said Taco Bell already. And the U.S. government's federal school lunch program. Stories about a guy named Oziel Lopez Perez. He's an illegal Guatemalan immigrant. He is 17 years old, and when he was working at Case Farms, he got his leg stuck in a liver giblet chiller, I believe, snapped in half and then ripped right the fuck off. So as soon as he was settled in at the hospital, Case Farms began doing an immigration check and firing all the people who were there illegally, which was a lot of people. And that's what Case Farms does. Case Farms' MO is that they hire illegal immigrants, and then, you know, if something goes wrong when one of their many OSHA violations come to light, they purge the illegal immigrants and go, oh, we didn't know they were illegal. Also, they left the country, so we don't have to compensate them for anything. And this is just their MO. They've done it for, I think, Nepalese, people from Bengali. It's on a note. So the deal is that these are people, the Guatemalans first came over during the Guatemalan Civil War, where refugees weren't really given refugee status because we were afraid they'd be communist because, you know, Cold War. So for them, it was Case Farms or death squads, and that is the operation that Case Farms seems to be running. Case Farms or death squads. Like, that's how brutal their working conditions are. Whenever workers try to organize to demand better rights, better safety features. Because if you didn't know, chicken processing is a dangerous, dangerous job. And these people demand profits, so they always want to cut corners. So, Burmese refugees are the ones, and then Nepalese refugees as well. So the deal is that by hiring illegal folks, they can pay them a little less, and they don't have to pay for any safety features because these people, they actually do have some rights, which surprised me. They can actually get workers' comp. But because Case Farms seems to regularly say, oh, hey, look, your fake identity that we hired you under isn't any good. Here's a new fake identity, allegedly, and you're going to have to sign up under that one. So then they're a new employee, and they're not available for workman's comp because they're a new hire on the books now, right? It's a really weird article in and of itself, but I think the main gist here is that, you know, without having workers' rights and being in a vulnerable situation where employers can just go, screw you, you're going back to Guatemala, then these people do work in terrible conditions, and they do hurt themselves doing these jobs, you know, repetitive jobs, dangerous jobs, inadequate safety measures. They get hurt. And these companies don't care, and these companies will never care, and they will tell themselves whatever they have to. So I say this a lot to myself, but I guess not enough out loud, where the problem with people coming to the United States for work is that people keep paying them to do it. Companies keep paying people to come to this country illegally, and it's supply and demand. As long as we keep having demand for cheap labor, then people are going to supply that demand. And as long as you keep taking cheap labor without asking it, they're going to keep coming. And as long as you refuse to pay more for chicken, then they're going to continue to want that labor. You know, stopping illegal immigration and the suppression of wages from that immigration means you're going to have to pay more for chicken. Like, you're going to have to give up something in this system. If this system is broken, the part of it which benefits you is going to have to change in order to fix it. It's getting dark now. So, anyway, I also got a story about a chicken processing plant, Simmons Foods Incorporated in Simmons County, Oklahoma. I need to get some beds down here. This story focuses on Brad McGahee, a 23-year-old who stole a horse trailer and fucked up his probation. He wasn't addicted to anything, but he was given an alternative to rehab. He was made an alternative to jail in the form of rehab, which involved him working at Simmons Food for 40 hours a week. Let me put these in the... Do I make another shovel? Not yet. I'll put these in storage. So CAIRR, Christian Alcoholics and Addicts in Recovery, is an uncertified treatment program which is used for addicts in that area as an alternative to prison. The dude in our story was not addicted to anything. He just didn't want to go to jail, which seems reasonable. So 3 months into a 1-year program, his hand was caught in machinery. He was not able to work, and the program for recovery from alcohol put him into prison instead, because the cornerstone of CAIRR is that people work 40 hours a week for no pay as part of their rehabilitation project. There's some Bible study, but there's nothing in there. It just says, hey, if you work a lot, you're going to be able to hold down a job and you're not going to be addicted to stuff. Work will set you free. Seems to be something these people took as a cornerstone of their treatment program. And they sell, I want to say the number is $11 million worth of labor to Simmons Foods. They're a contractor. That is the recovery center. They contract labor out to CAIRR, and they're all subcontracted out to Simmons Foods. And so when the prisoners mess up, whenever they are physically not able to work, they're just sent to prison. And that is 3 out of 4 people who are a part of that program. Worse, CAIRR actually takes the money from workman's comp claims and pockets it. McGahee there, to get his hand treated, he had to sue those guys to get his workman's comp money. He got it too late. The surgery that would have helped his hand work came too late to fix it. And now he is unemployed. He's unable to work. And he takes hydrocodone on a regular basis. I think that's hydrocodone. I do not know how to pronounce drug names. So it's a real paradoxical outcome for a program that wanted to make someone who could contribute to society and who is drug-free. And it really missed the mark on that. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but it is illegal in Oklahoma. I said that CAIRR was uncertified. It's illegal in Oklahoma to send someone to an uncertified program as part of a court order. But that's what happened to McGahee. That's what happens down in Simmons County for some reason. Anyway, that's, well, let's talk about prison labor, because people say, oh, look, illegal immigrants come in and they push down wages, and I'm inclined to implicitly believe that that's kind of true. But if you're really worried about average wages and keeping them up and saying, hey, look, if people have cheap labor, they're going to cut out average American workers, and I absolutely believe that's the case. I think companies will do that for, no reason. But prison labor is another source of labor that these people turn to. Look, there are about 2.2 million people in prison right now. And Walmart, the country's largest employer, has 2.2 million people working for it. If you don't think that prison labor makes a difference, then I think you're wrong. And if you want to say, hey, we should allow American workers not to have to... American workers shouldn't have to compete with these cheap sources of labor, prison labor is one of those. And I think you either have to reduce prison labor or value it a little bit more. Because if these really tough jobs at chicken processing plants had to pay fair market prices to get American labor, you know, then people might be willing to do those jobs. People who aren't in prison. I mean, you notice the common theme here. Anyway, one sec. Anyway, Disco Comics. As you know, I'm a cheap bastard. I buy my comics from the discount bin. This is Disco Comics. Today's comics, in honor of the Lucrum Vult title of today's episode, is SkullKickers number 24, Before SkullKickers. This is a D&D like adventure thing. I don't think it's an official D&D, but it's D&D inspired. Anyway, adventurers are always driven by money, so I thought, hey, let's link all this stuff together. It's 4 stories in one comic. So the credits are so long, I'm gonna do like the SNL intro. It's SkullKickers, written by Ron Mars, Adam Warren, Todd DeZago, and Jim Zub, with art by Arjuna Suzini, Stefan Sajic, Remy Mokhtar, really with these names? Kate McKinnon, no wait, not Kate McKinnon, Yenafwe Harrison, featuring Lar D'Souza, Misty Coates, letters by Marshall Dillon, and your host. Alright guys, until I get a good sign off.